cu India, am ajuns până în Africa de Sud, am continuat spre Costa Rica și spre Mexic. Astăzi ne oprim în Oceanul Indian, o să ajungem în Mauritius. Din Mauritius o să descoperim o tradiție și una din secretele lor, și anume trestia de zahăr. Și iată ce putem descoperi și ce putem face cu acest lucru. O să descoperim secretul zahărului și al romului împreună cu Muzeul Zaharului din Mauritius, Aventure du Sucre, unde o să-l avem pe David și pe Edwidge împreună cu noi. Imediat, în câteva secunde, o să fie cu noi. Vreau să vă reamintesc faptul că această prezentare o să fie oferită în limba engleză de către David și Edwidge și o să avem o secțiune Q&A, Questions and Answers. Acolo o să ne puteți scrie orice întrebare aveți și o să avem împreună cu noi pe Sandrine, care o să fie direct din muzeu, o să ne răspundă la orice întrebare avem despre muzeu și despre prezentarea lor. Și cu cele zise o să-l invit cu noi pe David. David, how are you? Welcome to...
Hello.
Virtually, I know you understood everything I said before.
Perfectly well.
Okay, perfect. So now you have the floor. You can start. I'll just introduce you, and I said a little bit of what we're going to do today. So I give you the honors to start this beautiful webinar, please.
All right. Thank you, Lily. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name's David. I will be guiding you through along the presentation, and I'm happy to meet you all. So before we begin, first of all, I have my colleague Edwidge, who is live broadcasting outside. And as we are heading into the night, we are going to give you a small tour of our site so that you can visualize a bit who we are and how does the site look like. So Edwidge, maybe you can give us a little tour right now where you are from.
Yeah, thanks, David. Hello, everyone. We are in the garden of l'Aventure du Sucre. L'Aventure du Sucre is a domain, so a quite big area in the north of the island, and it's next to a very famous garden, the oldest garden of the south part of the world, tropical garden, botanical and tropical garden. And from there you can see our view, that is to say our lake, our tropical flowers, and our hot palm. We are using this hot palm forest to cook fresh hot palm in our restaurant. So our restaurant is situated right here. Okay, I can show you a bit the place. I'm running a bit so I don't use your time. So this is our restaurant, a lot of plants, and our lamps are made with rum bottle. I don't know if you can see, but I show you a bit. Behind the restaurant is actually closed because we are open for lunch only. In COVID period, nothing is open yet, but we hope to reopen soon. So behind the restaurant, you can see the sugar factory. This sugar factory has been running for 200 years and was closed in years 1999, sorry, to be converted into this nice museum that David will tell you a bit more. Just in front of me, there is this huge machinery. So we kept all the machinery from the 19th century, 20th century. So everything is for real. Nothing is fake. We are not in Disneyland. We are in a real heritage site with its garden and its museum and its restaurant, and of course a nice boutique. We are also encouraging supporting artists. So when you'll be in Mauritius, you'll see that we have a lot of street art around, because it's our job also to support local people, local artists, local art crafter. But David will tell you more about that later on in the presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Edwige. So guys, again, I just wanted to welcome you with a nice citronella from our gardens, which is a very fresh drink enjoyed by our customers here. And so cheers for that. Before I head into the presentation, I just wanted to give some more context regarding the situation with COVID-19. So we are very proud and happy to announce that Mauritius has been officially declared COVID-19 free. It's been 2 weeks now. We have had no new cases on the island, and the government is currently busy putting measures and implementing procedures to ensure the security of the local population and travelers coming back soon, hopefully, to ensure that we avoid the resurgence of the virus. So all in all, we will be happy and ready to welcome customers from around the world as soon as we get back to business. All right, so I'm going to take you into a small presentation that we've prepared. As you can see, I've got some of our nice rums here and sugarcane and some good meals that are going to come afterwards, which I'll be happy to show you guys and taste as well, of course. So let me take you on to the presentation to begin with. So I'm going to share my screen into it. There we go. All right. So let me just get back to, okay. Oh, there we go. So to begin with, like Edwige was saying briefly a bit later, I'm going to introduce you to our heritage. As Edwige was saying, we are not in Disneyland. It's a real heritage coming from a former factory, which has been operating for 200 years. And so I'm going to guide you all along the process so you guys understand what we do and where we are coming from. So first of all, a little glimpse on our catchphrase, discover, shop and savor. So basically, La Moitié du Sucre is a sensory experience revolving around the history of sugarcane and sugar in Mauritius, where your clients and our travelers get to taste, see, discover, experience many things that forms part of our Mauritian culture through, of course, sugar, rum, and all the derivative products, and of course, excellent meals in our restaurant. So a little table of contents so that you guys understand a bit what we're going to talk about here. So of course, we're going to see a bit the origin and the history of La Moitié du Sucre. We're going to talk a lot about sugarcane and the whole cane sugars of La Moitié du Sucre, because whole cane sugars are a very specific type of sugar. Of course, the museum, which you've just seen in the videos broadcasted by Edwige, and the tasting experience of the rums and the sugars that I have here. We're going to talk about Le Village Boutique, which is the place, which is our shop where we sell locally made products and products from our terroir, which are made by local manufacturers and local communities, which we support. Then one of the most important parts for rum lovers, we're going to talk about the Mauritian rum, our rum New Grove, the New Grove experience, which forms part of La Moitié du Sucre. Then we're going to have a look at Le Fangouin restaurant, which is our place where people can have and enjoy our traditional and typical meals. And finally, we're going to conclude with interactive activities specialized for mice and groups that we do here at La Moitié du Sucre. And like Yuli said previously, Sandrine is in backup to answer all your questions in the Q&A. So if you have anything, any questions of any sort, do not hesitate to type it out to her and she will be assisting you. All right, so let us talk a bit about the origin and history of La Moitié du Sucre. So like Edwige said previously, La Moitié du Sucre has been a sugarcane factory operating for 200 years. It closed in 1999. So what you have to know is Mauritius, and we discover that a bit later, has been taken shape and became into being because of sugarcane. It was an island predestined initially, economically speaking, to be making sugar. So back in the days, we had many hundreds sugarcane factories around the island, and with economic developments and growth of technological needs, that number reduced down to a smaller number. And now we have 3 big operating sugarcane factories in Mauritius. So after 2 years of renovation, the museum and site of La Monture du Sucre opened in 2002. Like Edwige was saying, we kept most of the machinery, about 75% of the machinery of the former factory. So everything is real and how it used to be. But most importantly, our human capital is our richness. So what we did to continue to support our local stakeholders and local communities is that most of the employees working in the factory previously were transferred and became part of the museum and La Monture du Sucre's experience, which means that we have still and are still able to share and make advantage of their know-how and experience in the way that we communicate same to our clients. So a little bit about Mauritius. We are a very diverse nation. Mauritius has been cited many times across the world as an example of multiculturalism, simply due to the fact that since the very beginning of Mauritius, many people from different countries came together and started working together and living together across time. So of course, the first people to have had an impact on the island were the Dutch. Then came the French and the British, and with them, many people from across Africa, Madagascar, Mozambique, people from India as well, Pakistan, merchants from China. And these people have been living together for 350 years. And what happened is that because of that common share of land, the culture mingled together, and we became now a very diverse nation, so which allows us to share a very rich heritage full of different influences. All right, so before we head on into the presentation, I just wanted to show you a quick 30 seconds, 45 seconds video, which is going to give you an overcast view of what we do at La Monture du Sucre and what we are about. So enjoy that. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed that and you had that a chance to get a glimpse of how does it looks like inside the museum. So I will proceed on from there. First of all, like I was saying previously, our human capital is our richness, and over the years operating as a museum, we have had emphasis, a lot of importance on that. and we've got rewards because of that, especially through TripAdvisor. We've been 5 years in a row received the certificate of excellence from TripAdvisor, and other rating agencies such as Lonely Planet describe very well what we do here, due to the fact that we don't only tell the story of sugar in a fascinating way, but we also cover many aspects of Mauritian history and culture through our experience. So I just wanted to show you a bit our team and the people that make it possible. All of these people are working at La Mauritius du Sucre, and they actually live around the area. They are direct involved communities. So we have had a footprint over the years, working together and helping the local communities grow and share their experience and their heritage with us, and of course, directly to our clients. Because of our efforts and our commitments, we've been rewarded by TripAdvisor's Traveler's Choice Awards as being one of the amongst the top 25 museums of Africa. And through that, we've also been able to design additional supportive tools to help people during their experience, like this, some sort of an explorative guide, which gives additional contents to travelers during their discovery at La Mauritius du Sucre. One of our invention as well, something that we've been working a lot on, is our audio guide, which is easily available on the App Store and Google Play for people that come at La Mauritius du Sucre. So it is an audiovisual guide that guide travelers through their visit across the museum as an assistance to provide further information. It is very easily accessible and usable. So if you have or you would like to know how to get access to it, do not hesitate to shoot a question to Sandrine, and she will tell you easily how to get access to it, and you can peruse it further for yourself. Currently, we have 7 languages available. We are soon to have Arabic on. It requires a lot of work, and maybe hopefully one day we also have Romanian available on the audio guide. All right. So we're going to get more deep into the subject of what we have around and what we do here. So La Mauritius du Sucre, as you might guess by its name, has sugar in it, begins with sugar, and of course, sugar begins with sugarcane. So when you come to Mauritius, you will realize that a big portion of the land has sugarcane on it, and you will actually realize you're going to see old chimneys around these sugarcanes, and we're going to talk a bit more about that later. But first of all, I wanted to tell you a bit more about sugarcane. So La Mauritius du Sucre has always been, since its opening, focused a lot on its impact on the environment and how we can work and what we can do to further help the local communities and reduce our impact on the environment. And luckily, it begins with sugarcane. So first of all, I'm going to give you a visual impression. So here are 3 pieces of different varieties of sugarcane. As you can see, you can quite spot the difference only by looking at them. So sugarcane is a very complex plant. It requires at least 15 years of work in order to have medleys of different species in order to obtain a sugarcane that is better when it comes to not damaging the environment, and in terms of yield, it requires a lot of work. Sugarcane is a plant called a C4 type of plant. So why C4? Because there's a lot of ecological aspects involved in it. It is a plant, you know, it's the fields are green, completely green because of the leaves. So that greenish color does reflect the color of the sun. So it allows for the sugarcane. Yes.
It should be better if you can stop the sharing to see better the sugar canes that you have in your hand. There is some people wanted to see better.
All right.
Just this part when you are showing the sugar cane to see it better.
Okay, I'm quickly going to stop the sharing to show that.
Thank you.
So guys, I just wanted to stop the sharing so you guys can see visually 3 different aspects of sugar canes, and you can see the difference. This one is one of my favorite. It's called the red cane. It has a very reddish color to it. So I'll get back to the presentation and explain to you a bit more about it, like I was doing. All right. So like I was saying, sugarcane is a C4 type of plant. So not only does it contribute into reducing the temperature of about 1 degree around the sugarcane fields, it's also a plant which has roots which allowed for protection and of the land, protection against erosion and further pollution. And of course, it's the roots of Mauritius' existence, like I was saying previously. However, it is also a foresight into the future, because we will see when we're going to talk about the making of sugar that nothing gets wasted in sugarcane. You can actually use all of it from top to bottom in ecological way to further help the development, but also to reduce harm, any sort of harm being done on the environment. So, as you might have guessed, with sugarcane, we make sugars. And at l'Aventure du Sucre, our sugars are our pride. We make what we call whole cane sugars. So I'm going to guide you through all along, and so you'll understand what we mean about whole cane sugars and how they are better and different to standard sugars that you can find around the world, or that you can basically purchase in some supermarkets. I just wanted to emphasize that our sugars, our whole cane sugars, are used in very famous places as well, like Les Galeries Lafayette in France. They are purchased by, for example, places like Eturia, which are very famous places for sweets and high-end pastries. So, in order to understand whole cane sugars, you have to understand the making of sugar. So first of all, when it comes to the ecological aspect of our sugars, we have what we call a short circuit. So what do we mean about short circuit? Is that compared to some other countries, Mauritius is a very small island. So our advantage is that our fields are not very far from our factory. So basically, when you cut the sugarcane, the distance that you have to go through to take the sugarcane to the factory is very short. So we have a very limited impact on carbon dioxide emission, first of all. And secondly, we are able to get sugarcanes processed in a time not exceeding 48 hours, which is considered the maximum amount of time that you have to have a fresh sugarcane, which you can use for sugarcane and sugar making, sorry. So the process of making sugar. So as you might have guessed, once you have cut the canes in the field, you need to take it to the factory for the crushing. So when we crush the sugar cane, we are going to extract the juice out of it. And the juice will be the base used to make sugar. We're going to talk about what is left afterwards. We call it the bagasse, but we see that later in terms of ecological aspect. Once you have the juice, you're going to have the clarification process. The clarification process is basically the process of clarifying the juice so that you take out all the things that you don't want to obtain a pure sugarcane juice, the purest sugarcane juice, which you are going to use for the making of sugar, but also for the making of rums, which we are going to see later. Once you are done with the clarification, we're going to start the evaporation process. The evaporation will allow us to remove the excess water in the liquid. However, it is a very, very technical process, because once we have the evaporation, we're going to start the cooking to obtain something that we call in French la mascuite. It is a very meticulous process because we don't want to get caramel. We need to get something, a cooking paste that will allow us to make sugar. Once we have that cooking paste, we're going to do the crystallization process. It is basically the process of starting to obtain the small sugar particles that are going to become these small granulars that we obtain afterwards, the finished product, which becomes sugar. Once we have that, we're going to dry. We're going to have the drying process where we're going to have the sugar, and we're also going to have something left, which you might have heard of, called the molasses. Molasses is a brownish paste, sweetie paste, coming out of the process, which we also use for the rum making, but we also have a special molasses volcane sugar, which we're going to see a bit later. So since Mauritius has begun and came into being because of sugarcane, now our people and our factories have about 350 years of know-how in sugarcane making, and I'm going to explain to you a bit what were the outcomes of that know-how. So, whole cane sugars. What are whole cane sugars? So, whole cane sugars are the Mauritian added value. Whole cane sugars means sugars made out of natural sugarcane, and they are conceived only through the cooking process. So, we have at L'Aventure du Sucre 12 varieties of whole cane special sugars. The difference with these sugars is the fact of how long, what temperature, and the process you use to cook the sugar. There is no chemicals added, no artificial ingredients, nothing. It is just a matter of process, how you cook it, how long, and what temperature. Mauritius is the first producer of whole cane sugars in the world. We have about 100,000 tons made per year. And the group to which belongs L'Aventure du Sucre, the group Terra, is one of the precursors of the technological needs required for the making of whole cane sugars. So this is how we were able to acquire the capacity to have specially made whole cane sugars for L'Aventure du Sucre. So some of you will say, and it is normal, that, you know, we have in the world that perception that sugar is sometimes and can be bad for health. Of course, everything can be bad for health if taken in excess. However, properly used, whole cane sugars are purely natural and have a lot of health benefits, like items such as calcium, phosphorus, iron, magnesium, and they are, of course, as you might have guessed, very tasty, and we'll be happy to have you discover it when you come to Mauritius. So because of that know-how that we have acquired over 350 years, Mauritians are very inventive people. So we have had our very own inventions here. We have two types of sugars that are purely Mauritian inventions. So first of all, we have the coffee crystal sugar. I don't know if you can see a bit on the camera how does it looks like. It's a very thick and granulated sugar. It is large and dry crystals, sugar crystals, ideally used for coffee, yogurt, and toppings. So what happens, for example, when you put it in coffee, the sugar crystal is not going to melt entirely. So when you drink your coffee, you are left with a nice layer of sugar crystal, which you can enjoy at the end. So that's one. We like to say that it is one of the reasons it was the Golden Bakery, also known as extra light muscovado. Why I like it? Because it's a very thin sugar and it reminds us of Mauritius's sandy beaches. So if you picture yourself back at home in winter, harsh snowy storm, and you have a little spoon of that sugar in your coffee, or even plainly, boom, you get transported back into our white sandy beaches. So I hope that you guys get to taste that when you come here. It is a unique recipe in the world, also designed by Mauritian craftsmanship, and it is ideal for desserts such as lemon tarts, flambéed banana, and of course pancakes. And I'm going to show you a bit later some of our specialties desserts that we do here with our special sugars. I hope you guys are not getting too hungry or thirsty with what I'm saying right now, because personally I am. All right. I wanted to talk to you about molasses sugar. Why molasses sugar? Because when I said previously, once you do the drying step in the whole cane sugar making process, you are left with a dark paste, dark sugary paste, which we call molasses. Molasses is very high in nutritional value It has a lot of natural ingredients such as magnesium, iron, calcium, and all these things. And it can be used in many ways. In desserts, it can be used, of course, as what we call molasses sugar. So it is this. It is a dark pasty sugar which has a licorice taste and is ideally enjoyed for specific desserts as well. And of course, a very important part is that we also use it for the making of our rums right here, which I'll be very happy to talk to you about in a moment. So let's dive deep into our museum and tasting experience. So like I was saying previously, when the factory was converted into a museum, we have kept about 75% of the machinery in order to allow people to basically immerse themselves into what is a sugarcane factory. Because as you might have guessed, if you walk around an operating sugarcane factory, it's quite difficult for somebody without authorization to just go into a factory for safety purposes. So what was the idea? The people to understand the process of sugar and the history of Mauritius deep in the heart of a sugarcane factory. So as you might have noticed with our logo on the right-hand side, it is of a specific blue called the indigo blue. So why the indigo blue? That is because the Beauplan factory, which became L'Aventure du Sucre, began as an indigo factory in the mid 18th century, by the 1735 or so. So what happened is that it was quickly abandoned and it became a sugarcane factory because Mauritius started investing more into producing sugar, because indigo was in high demand from countries in Southeast Asia, and the prices were not able to rentabilize the activity in Mauritius. So this is why we dropped the indigo production, but we decided to keep the indigo blue in our logo as a reminder of our heritage. So like I said, it is a sensory itinerary. People coming here get to see, smell, touch, taste, and hear the experience. So again, our human capital is our richness. Our guides here, you can see here in the photo, Melissa, who's one of our guides. There are people living around in the community. They have had interaction with L'Aventure du Sucre for many years. Some of them have had their forefathers working for the factory, so they have that connection. And this is ideal because when they share with clients their experience and their know-how and their passion, it is coming from their own selves and their own history. So it is a major added value for us because when they are talking to our clients, it feels like our clients are at home because it feels like they are inviting these clients into their home. And this is a very, very important aspect of the quality of the service that we propose at L'Aventure du Sucre. So very important point. When you guys come to Mauritius, the first thing that you're going to see is sugarcane fields everywhere. And if you look around these sugarcane fields, you might happen to see one or two old chimneys scattered around. This is normal because, like I said previously, Mauritius had over 400 factories long time ago when it was at the peak of the sugarcane production. So we have a say here in Mauritius that our identity was carved under the chimney's shadow, for the simple reason that since sugarcane production, sugar factories were at the core of the economy, life started revolving around the factory. So basically you would have the chimney and then the factory and then small villages and schools and bakeries and shops all around. So that heritage is still present here. So people were interacting based on working in the factory, and our identity evolved all around that. And it is today an unmissable particularity of the Mauritian landscape. Our chimney is very special though. It was designed in 1895. And why it is special? Because it was a very fine architectural building, which is unmissable when you come to L'Aventure du Sucre, because it has at the same time a square base and a circular shape going all the way to the top. So we're really proud of it. And when clients come here, they really can't miss our chimney. So L'Aventure du Sucre, because it is a museum, it has a big cultural implication in Mauritius with local communities and the world at large. So we put a lot of emphasis on families and kids. It is a family and kids-friendly experience. We have games, we have audio application, we have Raj, which is one of the mascots here for the kids. So the idea is that we want, through the experience, kids to get a lot of educational perspective into it. So how we do it, when it comes to local communities, we often regularly have school around, we invite them around, and many schools here do input l'Aventure du Sucre as an educational experience into their school curriculums. So we are very attached to that sense of sharing heritage through our education, and we became sort of experts into catering for kids coming from foreign groups, from MICE groups and GRIs, to providing them tailored activities when they come to l'Aventure du Sucre as well. So it is not only an experience, of course, in terms of rum and products for the adults, but it is also a family and kids experience. So, very important, once the clients come to l'Aventure du Sucre, like I said previously, the experience is segmented in 3 poles. So we have the museum, we have the Fangoura restaurant, and of course we have the village boutique, where the tasting of sugars, rums, and locally made products occur. So these locally made products are very important for the simple reason that when clients come to l'Aventure du Sucre and to the village boutique, they're going to see a lot of products that are made by local artisans working around, but also working at l'Aventure du Sucre. Through that, when people purchase these products, we don't want them to just be purchasing a product like a tourist will be purchasing any product in a shop. The product he purchases or she purchases is a project helping directly funding these people working around with their hands, tools, and know-how, and their families and the communities around. So it has a social implication, which we add a lot of value into, and that is very, very important for us. And because of that, I just want to show you a quick video that we've made for our local artisans in credits, so that you can see how these people work on a day-to-day basis to have the products available at the shop and put it by reach to your customers and our visitors. So I hope you enjoyed that. So you might have seen a bit how our people work every day and craft our products and our locally made products. We're very proud of them, and it is absolutely because of them that we are able to propose authentic, really authentic products to our customers. And when people come into the Village Boutique, they can feel that vibe and they can exchange through the tasting that I'm going to talk a bit about to you guys right now, the richness and the commitment of these people towards making your experience and the client's experience a success. So once clients have discovered the museum, a very important part of the experience is the tasting experience. The tastings occurs at the Village Boutique, where people can discover 12 special sugars, whole cane sugars that I talked about. Of course, there's the rum tasting that we're going to talk about a bit, but they can also discover our jams and other derivative products that we do locally, and which many comes from our whole cane special sugars. So here's a little photo of where the tasting of our sugars occur. So they come in different packages and varieties, and our people are here when your people are done with the visit of the museum to basically learn and put into practice what they were taught and what they learned about during the visits. So they can exchange with them, try the sugars, see what we like. Our people are already counselors because they're passionate about what they're doing, and they know it to their core. So they can basically share their inmate experience, how they feel it, how they like it, and how they believe the clients are going to enjoy the sugars and the products the most. So there's a little photos of all our jams and that we do, lots of variety, lots of choices, and again, locally made products available. So this is an important part that we're going to talk about later. I'm getting thirsty already, if you can guess. It is some of the varieties of all our rums that we have. We have a nice selection, and I won't talk too much about that right now because I want you guys to get a deep understanding of how we do rum. So just to be a bit into practice what I was talking about. So the tasting is really about an exchange between our people and the clients, accompanying them. And basically, all the people come here, once they've done the experience, they have general understanding of what we do and who we are. And the tasting is the capacity for them to channel their tastes and what they like. And basically, if they want to purchase some sugar, for example, understand based on what they like, what would be the best choice for them according to how they're going to use the sugars and the products we have available. So again, it is all about the human exchange with your clients and our people. So the rum tasting, once people are in the Village Boutique, it is a square shape where we have different steps and of course lots of products around. But once they are done with the sugar and jam tasting, they head on to a special corner dedicated to the rum tasting. So the rum tasting is an immersive experience. Our people are here because we understand that many people, when they come here, they don't know about rum. They are not rum specialists, or they are not necessarily very knowledgeable, and they don't know much about the product in itself. So our people are here as counselors. They know the product, they've been working in it for a while, and they're all about providing the best experience and the best explanations to the clients, not only to sell a bottle of rum. It is more about the client understanding that rum is actually a product of quality, because it started emerging over the years as becoming a more and more refined product compared to other alcohols, because it's a very complex product, very complex alcohol. And you can do actually marvelous things and marvelous combinations with that product. And this is why our people are here through the experience of the rum tasting. So this is a little photo of our rum counter with one of our people. We receive a lot of people coming around from all around the world, and they like to share that knowledge through the tasting, step by step of the rums that I'm going to talk to you about later. What are their particularities, how you like it, what would you prefer, the difference in rums that we're going to talk about. All these tools allow the customer to enjoy the tasting experience, but to leave there with a very concise understanding of what is rum, but also what do they prefer in terms of rum? So let's go into our rums a bit more deeper. So our rum factory, our brand is called, we have two brands. We have New Grove and Mauritius. So the New Grove distillery, the chance that we have is that it is right next to l'Aventure du Sucre. So basically, the production of rum is deeply connected to l'Aventure du Sucre. And before we go into it, you also have to understand that people tend, which is normal, to connect sugarcane mainly with sugar. However, rum is just as much a byproduct of sugarcane. Like I said, how did sugarcane came into Mauritius? It was initially introduced by the Dutch in the 17th century, and it was mainly used to make an alcohol called arak, which was used to help the settlers and the people working on the island back in the days have an easier time upon doing so. Arak comes from Lebanese and it means dropping dead. So you can imagine the reason why it was a very strong and very unrefined alcohol. We call it the ancestor of rum because nowadays rum, of course, has evolved to become a very refined product, which is now challenging other alcohols such as whiskeys, for example. So important point to understand with rum is that we have two types of rum in the world. You have the agricultural rum and you have the industrial rum. So the agricultural rum is made out of pure sugarcane juice. Remember we talked previously about molasses. When you have the juice, the pure sugarcane juice has no molasses in it. And this is what they are going to use to make the agricultural rum. Then you have the industrial rum, which is rum made out of molasses. And if you go to specific rum making places in the world, for example, the Caribbean or Mauritius, you can find the different varieties of rum, and they are used for different purposes or for different kind of complexity and aroma. So again, very important point when it comes to the making of rum, because again, Terra and l'Aventure du Sucre, we are very committed to our reduction of carbon footprints and the impact we have on the environment. So it is even a more marvelous product because we again benefit from the value chain of the sugarcane, the fact that it is a C4 plant. If remember, we talked about that, the short circuit, the fact that our sugarcane fields are very close to our factory allow us to use a very fresh kind of sugarcane. We don't have to wait ages for the cane to get to the factory. It is very fresh. And of course, the 300 years of know-how. So what is the value behind New Grove? Is first of all, our rums are grown. There are many different ways that you can do rum. You can age the rum, aging meaning that you can have rum and let it rest in oak barrels, and you get specific old rums depending on the combinations. But to grow the rum, at New Grove, we grow the rum, and we have the help of our current maître de chai in French, which means enologist in English, a guy named Christian Vergier, which comes from the Cognac region in France. I'm sure you all people have heard about what is Cognac. So that guy is passionate about what he does. So we combine that short circuit with his know-how to grow the rum. To grow the rum means that through the process, we are going to monitor the rum on a daily basis to study its evolution, its complexity, to have implication on how we do the medleys, in what oak barrels does it go, when does it get transferred, how all of this occurs. And what happens is that by doing that and through its evolution, we get what we call complexity. And it is complexity which is at the core of a quality of the rum. Because when you taste a rum, it needs to have complexity in aroma, complexity in texture, complexity in how does it looks. And all of this happens because of a very meticulous following it through its evolution. And that is what we call growing. And we end up with a product of high quality. Once you combine a good terroir, which means sugar canes of quality, technical skills with a very qualified enologist and team, and of course, technological means and a skilled workforce working in the factory, to apply these skills to our products. So I just wanted to show you a little photo of Christian Vergier, who is our maître de chai, and I used his own words to describe better what we mean about growing rum. So to grow rum means to take in your own hands a young white rum, which you would get out of after the sugarcane juice ferments and becomes alcohol, rum, which is strong in character, it's young, and sculpted throughout the years with justness to have it become what we call an old rum, which would be better qualified as a matured rum with a proper balance between taste, aroma, density, and complexity. So that is very important because some people still have the perception in the world that how could rum be an expensive commodity? Well, it can definitely be because it is a very, very complex work of skillful workforce monitoring on a daily basis. And very slim margins of errors can lead to big variations on the products. So our rums at New Grove are all about complexity. The properly mature rum is all about the embodiment of complex and careful monitoring. So this is how we emphasize on our quality. So New Grove has been rated in the top 10% of worldwide rums throughout the year. It's now present on many countries. And one of our added values is that the distillery used top quality new oak barrels coming from the Limousin forest in France. I don't know if you guys have heard about Limousin. Having a new oak barrels allows for efficient aging of the rum. You're going to transfer according to the recipes between different oak barrels coming from different regions. New oak barrels have the advantage of being fit for aging and growing newly white rums. And then you have old oak barrels which have been previously used for other alcohols such as cognac, which are used sometimes to add cherry on cake for specific aroma which you want to incorporate into your rum. So this is one of the competitive advantages that we have had, which allows us to produce quality rums. So I just wanted to show you a little photo of our factory and our place where we store our oak barrels, which are monitored nearly daily to ensure that the rums are being tested and controlled according to our standards. So let's have a look at some of our rums that we have available at L'Aventure du Sucre. So first of all, I'm going to stop sharing the presentation rapidly so that you guys can have a look at a few of the bottles. So I'm not going to go into too much details on each bottle, but we have many varieties, different collections of rums, different bottles for different tastes and alike. They are all very complex rums. Of course, we have higher end rums, all mature rum. As you can see, very interesting packages for all different tastes. We have these three rums, which I'm going to talk about, which are, we call them the Rhum L'Aventure. So they are molasses rum made out with our whole cane special sugars, which we talked about previously. So they are rums specifically made for L'Aventure du Sucre with our special sugars, and they are quite unique rums. So we're going to see that a bit more into details. I'm going to shift quickly back to the presentation. No. All right. So just a little glimpse on our different rums. So the silver rum, for example, well, there's all the technical details, but basically we have rums from plain white rums to more complex rum with adding different ingredients to create the taste. In that example, taste of lime. It's all according to a medley of flavors. We have the spiced white rum. This one I love a lot. So, like I said to someone one day, and he called me back and said, yes, it actually works. If you have white rum and you're sitting in Europe in winter under a cozy fire in Christmas, or even in the harsh of winter before Christmas, and you have a sip of that rum, poof, you get transported back in Mauritius. And sometimes I was saying to my customers, even if it wasn't in Christmas, that it was Christmas in July, for example, because with this rum, it is Christmas every time, I guarantee you. I don't know if you heard about if you remember the gingerbread man. When I drink that, I think of the gingerbread man. So that's why I wanted to put this one on emphasis. The dark rum, for example, as you can see, adding fresh molasses gives a darker texture to the rum, a more caramelized taste. So responding to different needs and requirements. Of course, vanilla. Vanilla is very famous here. Vanilla, the impact of vanilla in the mascarenes. We have a few plantations here in Madagascar as well and across the mascarenes. And it is an unmistakable add-on to the making of rum across the world. So this rum is perfect as a digestive after a very nice meal, even with a dessert. And for the bravest of you guys, for breakfast, maybe even that could work. Coffee, of course, for example, very interesting taste, a little taste of, a bit like they talk about Irish coffee, but think about Irish coffee with rum, and you might understand a bit where I'm coming from. So the molasses, the Rhum L'Aventure that I was talking to you about, which is our top-notch product advertised at L'Aventure du Sucre. So once the clients have discovered and did taste the sugars, they can see the complexity and the aromas, the evolution of aromas of these whole cane sugars into our rums. Of course, I understand that there's a lot of technical factors in these details. If you have any more specific questions about the complexity and the details, do not hesitate to write it down, and we'll try to answer as much as we can with the help of my colleague. So remember, I was talking to you about two different types of rum. Rums made with molasses, industrial rum, and agricultural rum made out of pure sugarcane juice. So we've launched a category of rum called Mauritius, which is actually in remembrance of a colonial house which still exists, which form parts of the sugar plantation. These rums are agricultural rum, means that they were made out of pure sugarcane juice. And it is a complex rum, but agricultural rum compared to rums made with molasses is another play game for an oenologist, because he can use it to make different kinds of conceptions, different kinds of aromas, and it is a rum which is very much enjoyed for aging rum and growing rum as well, to obtain a purer sugarcane taste with the combination of added ingredients such as spices and gingerbread and candied orange peels without the taste of molasses. Now, the first one on the left is the white pure sugarcane juice rum. It is one of my favorite because it is a perfect rum to be used to make arranged homemade rums. For example, if people, aficionados, want to do their own rums, a pure white sugarcane juice rum is one of the ideal things to begin with. So I just wanted to show you that as well. Lazy Dodo is a brand that we launched previously, not so long ago. It is a very complex rum, ideally enjoyed. For example, I like to enjoy it with a cigar once in a while. We did that also in remembrance, and you might have heard of the dodo. The dodo is very famous through, for example, Alice in Wonderland. It is considered as the original bird, the most popular endemic bird of Mauritius. And it unfortunately disappeared when the Dutch settled on the island, because it was a bird which cannot fly and it wasn't used to humans, so it was easily hunted. And this rum, through its complexity and its presence, is also a remembrance to the dodo, and also a remembrance to the importance of our ecological impact and preservation of our fauna and flora in Mauritius. So last but not the least, I'm starting to get hungry right now. Let's go into Le Fambourin restaurant. So first of all, I just wanted to show you, I need to make you guys feel hungry a bit. So I'm going to shut down the presentation for a minute, show you two specialties that we have. I see some people are not happy with that, but I'm sure some of you guys will enjoy it. So we have, as you might guess, specialties, special desserts at Le Fangouin restaurant, which we make out of our molasses, whole cane special sugars, at la Mauritius du Sucre. We use these special sugars a lot in our restoration, of course, not only in plates like deer curry with molasses sugar, but you might have guessed with desserts. And this is our moelleux au chocolate fondant, which is one of our famous specialties. So, well, with the time, it has stiffened a bit, but usually once you open it, it's like a delicate hot chocolate paste that comes down, and it's divine or devilish for those who like you who can't enjoy it right now. So I wanted to show you this one as well, which is an unmistakable one for travelers coming at the restaurant. It's our famous crème brûlée. Crème brûlée made with our special sugars, very fresh. And this little macaron made out of myrtilles is delightful. And we wanted to show you guys these two desserts because, as you might have guessed, at la Mauritius du Sucre and at Le Fangouin restaurant, we make use a lot of our natural, locally made products to make special fine desserts. Remember when Edwige was showing you around the gardens, we also have palm trees, for example, which we use in our restoration. We have the chance to have big forests, part of the property around the sugarcane factory where we have deers, which we also use. We have eggs coming from the garden. So we try to, again, reduce a lot that ecological impact on our activity, but also provide the most fresh and quality made products coming from our local communities. So let me get back quickly to the presentation so that we can carry on. I'm going to share the presentation again. All right, guys. So Le Fangouin. Like I said previously, Mauritius, because of the medley of other cultures coming around, we wanted to have a place that would embody that richness and the merge of Asian, African, and European influences into cuisine and into gastronomy. So the experience does not only cover, as you might have seen, high quality meals or very enjoyable desserts, but it is also about the interaction that your people and your clients have with our waiters and our people working there. We try a lot to emphasize on family experience. So what does fangourin means? So fangourin is a French word which basically describes the juice that you would get after you crush the sugarcane once. Basically the first juice that you will get before you start the sugar making process, we call it le fangourin. So it is just an homage, a tribute to that idea. So a little bit of our scenery. You might have seen a bit quickly in the video, but the restaurant is nestled in the garden with lots of tropical trees overlooking a view. On one side, you can see the museum. On the other side, the gardens. It is full of air and lots of light and makes it a very pleasant area to enjoy a lunch or even a coffee, or for the aficionados, a cocktail made out of rum. So a little bit of the sightseeing outside. Very important, we're going to talk about that when it comes to mice and GRIs. As you might have guessed, we've been working and we work a lot with groups, maybe it for weddings, seminars, conferences, birthdays, gala dinners. We've had the chance to have about 20 years of experience in that. And we take great pride and passion at providing the best experience when it comes to group events. So as you can see, you might have seen the gardens previously. So we also have tents and marquees, which we use sometimes for big events. We also have a very rustic setup decor with old rum bottles, wooden pallets for furnitures and plant covers. Again, we are all about reusing what is available at hand with a high standard of quality for the preservation of our surroundings and protection of the environment. So some of our specialties, unfortunately for myself and for some of you guys, I couldn't get some of our special meals available. We only have a few desserts here to comfort ourselves, but I just wanted to show you a bit of our specialties that we have on the menu card. So we have, for example, the octopus salad served with crispy local gâteau piment. Gâteau piment is a traditional Mauritian chili cake. It's a chili bites. We call it chili bites, which is basically coming from a street food, which we've reworked to become a fine recipe in the restaurant. We have linguine with different pestos, curry leaves, oriental spices cooked by our chef, who has been with us for quite a long time now and is very passionate about creating and producing quality meals on a yearly basis. And every 3 months, he likes to rethink a bit how we can better work our heritage in terms of food and what we have in our gardens. This one's one of my favorite. It's venison from our forests, cooked with our whole cane molasses sugar. It's a delish with a little bit of condiments and traditional rice, unmistakable ones. So if one of you guys happen to come to La Monture du Sucre, just ask for David and call me and I'll be there and I'll make sure. Yes, I see Yudi is raising a hand here. I know she's going to do that, but I'll be here. So do not hesitate to talk to me about our famous forest deer cooked in molasses sugar. It is an unmistakable plate to try at La Monture du Sucre at the Fangourin Restaurant. Desserts, of course, we've seen some, but we also have some revisited lemon of Rodrigues meringue pie. We have whole cane sugars, a delish as well. Nothing is, there's too much. Crème brûlée, which we've just seen. Of course, there are different varieties. Sometimes the macaroon can be, the one I showed you is with passion fruit. It can be also vanilla, for example. Lots of varieties and complexities of aromas available here. So like I was saying previously, just a few photos to give you an idea of what we do in terms of event. So of course, especially for you guys that are in the mice market, we of course have benchmark proposals when it comes to doing events like gala dinners and everything. But at La Monture du Sucre, we are all about tailor-made as well. So we like to innovate and do things that stand out from what can be done and what is being done. So we always like to have that interaction with the clients, and we are always on site to make sure that not only is the event going to be enjoyable in terms of quality and perfection, but we want the client to feel that he has had that human touch and contact all along the way, which is so true to Mauritian culture and how we live our heritage on a day-to-day basis. So that's very important for us. And so that's a big snapshot of one of the biggest events that we have at La Monture du Sucre. We have one, for example, called Casout, which is a picture of that event that you see here. Like I said previously, we are involved a lot in local communities and culture and education. So Casout is an event which is partly sponsored, and we're working partly with stakeholders of the Mauritian society to have a big cultural event at La Monture du Sucre, where people come and can enjoy different types of cultural music and workshops. And of course, there's food. So it's a big feast of Mauritian culture. So we do that on a regular basis with specific partners. It's again, another way to share our heritage. All right. Something I wanted to talk to you about, which we have not been emphasizing in the presentation. I mentioned previously that we had a house called Mauritius, which forms part of the estate, the property, which is where the name of one of our rums category came from. But we also have another house, which is called La Maison de la Villebague, which has a very big historical importance in Mauritius. It is actually part of the first sugarcane factory which was built and came into operation in Mauritius, La Villebague. And you might have heard about a famous guy in Mauritius called Maille de la Bourdonnais, who was a French guy who was governor of the island Ile-de-France, which is formerly Mauritius back in the days. He was a precursor in the sugarcane industry in Mauritius, and he lived in that house called La Villebag, which now forms part of Terra, which is our group, and managed by l'Aventure du Sucre. I just want to show you a quick video of what we do there, because La Villebag is also a place, a magnific scenery, where we also can propose nice events such as weddings and gala dinners and everything. It has a unique scenery and look into it, which is the perfect scenery for very unique events. So I invite you guys to enjoy that quick video.
This is where I wanna be, growing old and running free. Though I've been acting differently, I hope it's all as me you'll see. We felt autumn finally fall. We dance on and need to. How better we come. But it's mighty all alone by Eturia. It's mighty all, you're the one for whom I really care. I think it's time to set us free, like we're singing birds inside my dreams.
All right, so I wanted to show you that video because as you might have seen the house in the video, we're actually very proud of it, because it is very difficult and very hard nowadays to maintain a colonial house. And it is a livable, alive testimony to Mauritius's heritage. And we're very proud to have that building and that house part of our group, our company. And it is even more a pride for us to allow us to prepare design specific events for mice and groups coming from abroad to get a very interesting glimpse of that heritage. So the last part of our presentation, which I'm going to talk to you about a bit briefly so that you understand a bit, so we've been able to recap a bit all the things that we do at l'Aventure du Sucre and our heritage and the specifications of what we offer through our 3 clusters, the museum, the village boutique, the tasting, and of course the restaurants, the rum tasting. But because of our culture, our richness in our human heritage, we are a lot into interactivity, in the fact that when people come to Mauritius, many travelers would like to experience, to see what's going on inside the island. What are people doing? How are they living? You might have, if you've been in tourism for a while, you might have known that for many years, Mauritius was a lot about white sandy beaches and the sea. But we attach a lot of pride into that and importance, because there is a lot happening inside the island as well. And it is an occasion through the interactive activities to allow your clients to interact with other people, like in the photo here, Jean Alain, who is he's been with us for many years, and through some activities share his know-how and his passion with clients. So we design and we have a lot of activities such as a cane cutting experience, cocktail makings. We also have tailored activities, craftsmanship workshops, examples such as Sega initiation. Sega is a traditional dance in Mauritius, where we can have small workshops where people can learn to dance Sega, for example. So the idea behind that is to give the client an understanding of Mauritius while being able to participate, so that when he goes back home, he can tell his family, you know, guys, I actually partook in an activity which formed parts of the day-to-day living of some Mauritians. So it's a a deep introduction into our identity. So I want to emphasize a bit on the cane cutting experience, which is being managed by Jean-Alain, who is a person who has been working with us since he was quite young, through many years. He was in the sugarcane fields, then he was into the factory of Beauplan, and he became part of l'Aventure du Sucre when the factory closed. So that's a perfect example of how we put these people of straight know-how and heritage directly into contact with the clients. So the cane cutting experience is a different way of discovering sugar by understanding how you cut the sugar cane, how it is being treated, how long does it take, how hard the work it is, and how committed people like Jean-Alain do it on a day-to-day basis. So this activity is scaled down in 6 steps. So there are actually small Instagram videos. I'll see if I can play these. So first of all, of course, the first part of the experience is to listening to Jean-Alain. He gives a bit of the background and explains what he does, how long he's been doing it, and basically all there is to know about sugarcane. And then, of course, you guys are going to have to help a bit because we rely on you guys for cutting our sugarcane. So basically, it's cutting the sugarcane and understanding how it works. Then Jean-Alain takes you to one of my most favorite part is basically crushing the sugarcane, getting the juice and tasting it. I'd like to say that, you know, in many countries and in Mauritius, of course, when we are very young, we are given cod liver oil. I don't know if you heard about cod liver oil. It's a disgusting oil that we give to kids as vitamins. You might have heard that. Well, I like to say to some of my clients that sugarcane juice is my cod liver oil. I mean, I've been drinking it since I'm 4 years old, and I hope to be in perfect shape, unless I have something hidden somewhere. But so far, I'm doing pretty well. And when you come to Mauritius and you get the chance to taste that, I'm sure you will agree with me. So once this is done, we are going to use that juice with our people, like Yeshna, for example, and she's going to teach you about cocktail making using the sugarcane juice and fresh items such as molasses, sugar, leaves from the garden. There's many recipes, but it is about making the cocktails and learning how to do it. And of course, shaking the cocktails, crushing the leaves. And then the most important part is tasting. So we've had a few examples on that, but of course, the activity comes in different aspects. Like basically, people will get a dedicated visit of the museum afterwards or before to understand, okay, I have cut the cane, I tasted the juice, I made the cocktail, but where does all of this come from? How is it linked to the history? And then, of course, the most important part is getting down to the sugar and rum tasting and finishing the day with a very nice meal at Le Fangouin restaurant to understand how sugar forms integral part of Mauritius's meals and gastronomy. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. I really hope that you've enjoyed and you've been able to ask Sandrine a lot of questions. And I was very happy to share that with you. I hope you guys are safe as well with the coronavirus right now in Romania. Things are getting back slowly into normal. Like I said here, thankfully, we are officially COVID-19 free since 2 weeks now. And we are working very hard to make sure that we have the right measures in place to ensure that it lasts and that your customers and clients are safe once they get back to Mauritius. So I wish you a pleasant evening, and I look very much forward to see you in Mauritius at l'Aventure du Sucre anytime very soon.
Thank you.
Take care and bye-bye.
David, don't leave us yet. Wanted to thank you for all the information that made us a little bit more close to Mauritius in this time. And I will also like to thank you, Edvish and Sandrine, for being with us today, being part of this team. And we just can't wait to travel to Mauritius and to taste those desserts that you just show us just now, which was really, really nice. And just from your side, we have more time. If there is someone asking, saw someone raising the hand, so I would like to know. You can write us. Ne puteți scrie pe Q&A dacă doriți să menționați ceva. Și imediat Dave o să ne răspundă live. I just saw someone raising the hand, and it says here. So, and if you want, just let us know in Q&A will be perfect. And just from your side, what is your recommendation for Mauritius? What we can do, and just let us give us just a quick insight of what is your favorite place in Mauritius, because we know there are a lot of things to do there, but your favorite.
Well, I wouldn't be able to say anything, but my favorite place is Muzeul, right?
Okay.
No, well, there's this one thing that is very nice to know about Mauritius is that, first of all, we have very mild seasons, so that we don't have a big difference between summer and winter. So it is literally pleasant all year round with lots of sunshine and very agreeable temperature. And of course, the nature is for me personally, I'm a person who likes nature, and nature is really something that you can enjoy in Mauritius a bit all around, whether it be sugar canes and forest. You might have remember in the video that we saw regarding La Maison de la Ville Bague, there's huge forests around, so it is quite present in Mauritius, and it's a very interesting scenery. Of course, right next to La Manche du Sucre, I think Edwige mentioned that a bit earlier, we have a very famous garden called Le Jardin de Pamplemousse, which was designed many years ago by a guy called Pierre Poivre, who was a botanist coming from France. And it is a very nice scenery where people can witness endemic plants and plants specific to a Mauritian environment and topography and climate. So that is a very nice and safe and interesting walk to experience when you guys come to Mauritius. But of course, last but not the least, if you are a person of the sea is also something worth to be enjoyed in Mauritius. Compared to Europe, for example, sometimes, for example, in France, or where the sea can be quite cold, the sea here has a fair temperature all year round, and is quite enjoyable for those of you guys who like. And not to deny the fact as well that you will notice that because of all the influences that we have on the island, food is a very important aspect of Mauritian life. So issues with food means big problem, but you'll be able to discover not only à la Manche du Sucre, but everywhere different ways food is being used and is part of Mauritian culture. So you might not stop eating all your trip along when you come here. That's for sure.
Perfect. So we can wait. We can wait the situation to change and to be able to travel for sure. Now, as you have just made us jealous from the sweets and the rum and the sugar and everything, I will also have to book a flight to Mauritius and hopefully to see you and know you personally. Thank you very much for your time. And whenever you have the opportunity, you can be here also in Bucharest. So we have also a lot of things to show, and food also very good here in Romania in general. So Sandrine, thank you very much. Edwige, thank you for hello Sandrine.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
It was very nice to speak to you, and we hope to see you very soon here in Mauritius.
Also, thank you very much. And just to know you also, I pronounce well your name because I always mispronounce your name. Edwige, do you hear me?
You pronounce it totally right.
Totally
I
right.
told you many times, you can come and live in Mauritius.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for everything, you guys. And we are really glad to have the opportunity to have you today. So thank you, and hope to see you.
It was our pleasure.
It was our pleasure. Don't hesitate to write to us, to go on our webpage to get more information. And we'll be very happy to welcome you in Mauritius and in Muzeul.
Thank you. So, thank you very much, all of you guys. Vă mulțumim foarte mult pentru prezența de astăzi. Mâine continuăm cu această călătorie virtuală până în Columbia și poi mâine ajungem în Brazilia. Vă mulțumim foarte mult și vă dorim o zi frumoasă în continuare. La revedere!